Ooh. And underneath that is because of the Seven of Cups. Okay, it's defensive because you don't know what's real, what's not, what's potential, what actually can happen, what may not happen, what's too good to be true. Kind of trying to figure out and read between the lines because things are just like either not how as they seem, or they just feel like a little too. They just feel too good right now. Because strength is the heart of isn't the heart of the reading necessarily. It helps us to understand what brought you two together. There was definitely a hell of a lot of passion, a lot of lust. Okay, come on, guys. I hope y'all are using these. Make sure you be using those. Okay, I'm just playing. But seriously though, I think there's a lot of passion, a lot of like strong connections. You don't. Oh my God! Hold on a second, y'all. For both parties, this person's coming up as the Queen of Wands. This person's coming up as the King of Wands. Some of y'all, you guys are feeling it. All right, it's sexy time. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, but no, just seriously though. Seriously, aside from the sexiness, all right, you guys definitely are like really like passionate for each other. You guys are also very independent. You have your own standards. You have your own rules. And considering you have trust here, right? Everything's just seeming to click and work together just fine. Everything seems to be, working very well, in some degree. But I feel like considering that you guys see each other as both of you, either independent and very, creative in your own ways, you play off each other. You guys really work really well together. Like, it's just like, which is real, what is not. Is this going to last? How long is this going to be? Like, there's not a lot of belief in this relationship, not necessarily. You feel good about it. You feel that connection that's there, that tie. But at the same time, I think there is this feeling of not wanting to lose your individuality, not, wanting to have the freedom that you need. I don't think you guys provide yourself enough space in this relationship. And at the same time, like, the goodness can only last for so long. The honeymoon phase can only last for so long. And I kind of get this vibe that you guys feel like this is a honeymoon phase, and this can't necessarily be as good as it is. But it is, guys. It is. Okay, but anyway. Some of you guys may be like, when is this going to shape up? We need things to be better than this. Some of y'all are looking at the situation like it can't be this bad forever. And trying to figure out what you guys want out of this relationship, because it's just either super confusing and just too much. Some of y'all like that, but not all of you guys, right? But I'm going to start with this person on this side here. Feel free to pick the side that resonates with y'all, okay? And let's get into it. This person starting off with their mentality being the Nine of Pentacles regarding the relationship. They are not getting a left space. This person, one, may feel kind of isolated, kind of alone. They don't feel like they're in a relationship, but they do. That's why they feel it's an uncomfortable feeling of being there's that uncomfortable feeling of being trapped in a situation that makes you feel single, but you're not, so you can't even go out and flirt. Because Geminis, I know y'all, you love to flirt. I mean, I get that from you guys. I think that's why my Gemini moon is like, is the way it is. I be flirting with folks, and I'm like, well, that's just me. I don't mean anything serious by it. It's fun to do. And I think for a lot of you guys are bound to something, or you guys feel connected to something, but you're single, or that you're not single, but you feel single in the relationship. And it may have to do with the fact that you guys may not get a lot of passion, may not be feeling very passionate together, or you guys have a lot of fuel in the fire that's not being used. Because the Nine of Pentacles can also talk about being very, very bored. Now, whoever this person is, this could be their story here. But they can also look at the situation. Is this someone that feels very secure in the relationship, feels very safe? Their needs are definitely being met. Things are, as far as like financial and physical things being met. I don't know about emotional satisfaction though. The emotional satisfaction is questionable. It's questionable here, because there's not a lot of cups. The only time that we get, the only time I would say this person may be, emotionally okay and just trying to look for their independence outside of the relationship because they don't want to feel smothered, is because of the Queen of Wands that's in the spiritual plane at this moment. Queen of Wands is very independent. She loves her person. She loves her man, or, whoever she's with. But She likes her own space to be creative. She likes to be herself. She's very authentic. She's very real. She's very true to her feelings and her emotions. She's very raw and very open and out there. And I feel like you guys are definitely those kind of people, but you guys feel like you're in a situation where you can't do those things, where you feel like you can't be yourself. You can't be your absolute crazy, lovable, and just honestly hilarious Gemini selves. Y'all know you're funny, right? So you guys can't be yourselves, it feels like, when you're in a relationship with a person because you're in a committed situation. Or you guys feel like you guys are spending too much time with the person, you're not allowed the freedom that you feel like you need. And I think at the same time, this relationship is really calling on you to be more independent. I think you can recognize where you guys either need your independence more or where you want your independence more in the relationship, because either you already feel secure that you're in a relationship, so you don't really need them around all the time to prove that they're with you, or that you guys just need that sense of independence as a person. You just need to be yourself, and you feel like that being in a relationship may take that identity from you, that sense of self. Now, the other person is showing the Seven of Pentacles. This person is trying to figure out what work needs to be done in the relationship. What else needs to be done? Because I think this person's having a hard time figuring out whether or not they're trying to figure out either what else needs to be done, because the situation that they've been putting the work in has pretty much stopped. There's not much more that they can give to the relationship. I think a lot of this stuff is having to kind of go within now. But the Seven of Pentacles can also talk about them figuring out whether or not this is something that they can continue to put value and put effort into, because they may not be receiving a certain outcome in the time slot that they wanted, or it hasn't happened yet, or they're looking for whatever, and it's, even though they've overcome so much and they've overcome a lot of things, that's not a word, overcome. What? Anyway, I'm gonna start speaking English now. I don't know what's going on. I've been doing readings all day, but anyway, I think the reason why, I think they know how much that they overcame. They know how much they've put into the relationship, how much you've put into the relationship, whatever, right? Whoever this person is, they know how far they've come. They know how much the work they put in. They know how long it took you guys to get to this place, but they're still not satisfied, or they know that this is not where they want to be. This is not where they want to end stuff. They want to push it further, but they just don't know where, because they're looking at how much work they've put in and how far they've come versus how much, what else needs to be done, looking at what needs to be improved. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think they're just not looking at what needs to be improved, because they have the Eight of Pentacles in the present. I feel like this person is very focused on the finances, to be honest with you. Very practical individual, okay? But the really weird thing is because it's not weird, actually. I think the thing is, the reason why they're so focused on the money, or focused on their finances so much, is because they're very passionate about, I think, the relationship, about what they have and where they are in their life. This also gives them a sense of independence, and this is very emasculating for them. This person shows strong masculine energy. This doesn't have to be a man, but it does give them a sense of pride, a sense of purpose, and I feel like this kind of boosts our ego a little bit. So the situation regarding finances, how they can continue to grow, how could they continue to be happy in the sense of their finances and their physical life. It does give them an ego boost, but it's not true to who they are, I think, because that's why they're having a hard time finding what else needs to be done, even though they're doing the best that they can. Because I think this is about looking at what they, about being in the moment with what they have and finding satisfaction in what they have, instead of always looking for more, always looking for, what do I need to do? How can I upgrade this? How can I upgrade that? What do I need to improve? And it's like, you're always going to be able to improve, but what you're trying to do, what this person looks like they're doing, is focusing solely on the practical, so looking solely on the financial and not being in the moment, which is why this person is feeling alone, not feeling recognized, or feeling like their needs are met elsewhere, like financially, but not emotionally, because this person's not emotionally available. They're looking to be the man or be the woman of the relationship, the provider, the supporter. And it's because they need that ego boost, and they're using this practical energy to be that reason as to why they should feel confident in themselves. And it's the drive to being successful that this person is focusing on. And I think that is the reason why this person is doing all this. And it's because not just that too, it's because they do love this person. This person is theirs. They want to be the provider. They want to be the supporter. They want to make sure that that their person, is lavish with goods and gets whatever they want. They're able to do and be whoever they want to be without having any sort of financial constraints, not feeling like they have to be bound to anything or feel like they need to do anything. I feel like this person, the King of Wands, wants to express their freedom that they have in a way that through money for this person, or do something practical for this person to feel free when they feel trapped here, and they feel like they can't be themselves because and they can't connect with their boo in the passionate way that they want to because they're so focused on something else. Everybody's focusing on something else. Now, it could be that both parties are distracted here. Like this person, is, feeling very lonely, or they think that this relationship is all about being financially stable, and they feel financially stable. They're working on their finances, but in the present, they're allowing that sort of perspective to overcome and, kind of trump the relationship in a very big way. And it's not toxifying the relationship, but it doesn't make the other person, it doesn't include each other, right? It's very, it's very self-oriented, right? And then turn makes this person feel lonely, and then this person feels like they need to do some sort of work, they need to put something in, they're not sure why they're not satisfied enough because, they are doing everything they can financially to make this person satisfied when they're not really thinking about, they may be thinking about money. They may be thinking about getting, to a place of stability for themselves, right? Trying to be independent and, non-reliant on this other person here. They want to be strong on their own 2 feet, but, and love each other, not because of how much money they make and, how much they can get each other, but more of like, I have my back, you have your back, but we can have each other's backs because we are stable enough to be, to have our own backs to be able to contribute in the relationship, not in a financial way, but in an emotional way, because we can't do that. We could do that for ourselves, and we can do that for ourselves, but we want to share that energy together. But the way that it's happening is through a practical sense. And unfortunately, with the constant ignoring of the emotions, like the Two of Pentacles usually does indicate, it's never going to get fixed that way. Unfortunately, when it comes to finances, when it comes to money, when it comes to something materialistic, like, anything that has anything to do with, material in this, it's never going to fix the emotional problem. It's only going to fix, the financial issue or the societal issue, the traditional issue, the governmental, environmental issue. Never going to fix the relationship that you have together, because money is not just made up of money. It's also made of emotional connection and intimacy. It also talks about, it's about communication. There's a lot of things that factor into it, and not just the finances, and not just the things that, obviously we use to get food and have water, drinking water, and electricity, and a roof over our heads. Those don't make or break a relationship. There's people out there that live in cars and they love each other so much so, like the money doesn't mean anything. And I feel like both parties here, they don't really believe that the money means too much to them. But it's almost like they want to be independent for themselves, for each other, to be together and be happy. And it's really interesting. But I think the situation is that everybody's so focused on money and don't trust their own financial situation that they can't be together, right? They can't just enjoy each other's company. They can't be in the moment because they're so worried about what happens here or what happens there. It's so interesting, y'all. But obviously the connection is there. King and Queen of Wands. Wow. it's tough, but the walls that are being built up now it has something to do with the practical. It has something to do with someone's focus being on something else, or both parties' focus is being on something else. And it's not because either one of you guys are money hungry. I think it's truly to be independent, so that way you guys can have each other and enjoy each other in the moment. But it's hard to do when like bills are harassing you or things coming up. And it's like, you don't have to give that energy power here. You don't have to give that power. Just do the best that you could do in that realm, but be in the moment together, because that doesn't have to affect your relationship. It can, and it usually does, but it doesn't have to. Because the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands, they don't care about physical stuff. They care about what makes them happy in the moment. You guys have, wow, graphic smoky quartz. Let's go ahead and see what this is all about here from the booklet. Let's see what we got here. And that's one of the last cards, actually, if not the very last. Yeah, this is the second to last card. All right, the stabilizer. The graphic smoky quartz, it represents the stabilizer. Graphic smoky quartz supports all the structures in the body, removing toxic debris and traumatic memories. It keeps you grounded and balanced in physical incarnation while exploring other dimensions. Self-understanding. Lack of trust in yourself and other people create psychological barriers that lie at the heart of your disease. Dis-ease, not disease, because you don't have a disease, you're not sick. It's just this, you feel this disease. And I think, like I said, the reason why everyone wants their own individual independence and financial independence is because no one wants to feel reliant on anybody. I think too, like, one thing I was definitely missing here when I was looking at this was that definitely somebody doesn't want to rely on somebody. They don't want to feel, they don't want this, especially with this person with the devil here, can indicate that this person may have, this habit of kind of focusing on money, focusing on, things that have power over them, like money or influence over them at this moment. It's because they may have had situations where there were lack of independences in relationships, or there was codependency in relationships, or there was manipulation through money in relationships. And regardless of the form of that relationship, this person may feel like they could and can be taken advantage of because this person gets them everything. And that's why this person wants to be independent. And I kind of feel like this person could be somewhat the same way, but not in the sense of this person, they are worried about this person taking advantage of them, but more of like, they can't be themselves. They can't be comfortable. They can't feel like they are stable in themselves or feel good in themselves until they are financially stable, which is still a wall and a barrier that can keep both of you guys from being able to connect in an intimate way like you guys typically can. So, anyway, your self-esteem, like I was saying, is low, creating a deficient immune system. Memory of old traumas have subtly amended your ancestral DNA. At a deep level, you have become compressed and limited. Allow yourself to expand again. Divination. Undertake a shamanic journey into the unseen worlds in search of healing. There you will find the underlying causes of dis-ease and outdated soul imperatives that are affecting your well-being. Offer yourself the gift of transformation. The chakras that it affects is all of them, and the soul path is exploring taboos, having more sex. What did I say? Start using these. It's important. Okay, sorry. I know, some of you was like, why the hell do you have these condoms laying around? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, y'all. But anyway, soul path, right? Exploring taboos. Get in there. Do things different. Do things outside your comfort zone. That's going to be enriching the connection between you. And do it together if you can. But yeah, it adds to the relationship. It really does. It really adds. And treading where others fear to tread. stepping outside the comfort zone. Exploring, being the king and queen of wands, the explorers, the adventurers, the people that do not limit themselves. Don't limit yourself to the things that you can afford. Don't ever limit yourself to anything that you can honestly live without if this wasn't a capitalist world.